Things you must not do when you visit Oba of Benin Palace. 8 things you must not do. The palace and the royal residence of the Benin Empire is one of the most well-known in Africa and the world at large, and a custodian of African culture. We should gather that every year, vacationers and site visitors troop to the ancient metropolis placed in Edo State, Nigeria, to see the palace, which holds the rich history of historic royalty. Although not all are granted target market with the Oba, Omoneba, Nedu. Quite a quantity of women are allowed to tour particular areas of the palace. While paying a visit, it is necessary to test with your tour guide for regulations that govern actions around the palace. Below are 8 things you ought to in no way do as a vacationer in the king's palace. First, pointing fingers at both Oba or his chiefs are not allowed at the Oba's palace. The Oba himself does no longer factor fingers at everybody as well, besides in a bid to bless or curse some other individual. Pointing is considered as an act with deep non-secular, which means, and so anyone who does this is straight away arrested through the security guards of the palace known as the Ifeanworo for questioning and viable punishment. The Ifeanwero is a spiritual defense whose major obligation is to ward off the spiritual assaults in opposition to the Oba. These guards are commonly clad in brown wrapper skirts with armlet round them. After arrest, the perpetrator is usually compelled to take an oath before confessing or giving explanations for pointing fingers at the Oba. In their cases, the offender may be asked to present sure animals for sacrifice. Number 2, whistling. Whistling might appear like a simple and innocent act, but when in Benin City, in particular at the palace, this is considered rude. Based on superstition, the people of Benin trust whistling to be a medium via which mortals can call to spirits and the dead. The Oba Palace homes over 3,000 deities and mysticisms with spirits connected to them. It is believed that when a man or woman whistles in the palace, there is no manage over which spirit or deity would be roused by the call, and in a situation the palace roused spirit does no longer see any food supplying or appeasement, it may take the lifestyles of the whistler or everyone around the vicinity. 3. Open umbrella during festivals. Umbrellas are customary to provide safety from harsh weather stipulations such as rain or sun. However, if you are joining Benin and you sketch to attend a festival, be organized to stand through any situation the weather throws at you, barring protection. During principal fetes such as Igwe Festival, the Oba of Benin is the sole one whose head can be protected with an umbrella. The palace chiefs are predicted to go away their umbrellas at the palace gate during festivals. For tourists and visitors who have no prior understanding of this rule, the security guards regarded as the infernal trouble a warning at the entrance. 4. Black apparel. Black as a color typifies money in many cultures, seeing it as it's a taboo or for the Oba to mourn. No matter the circumstance, he is now not allowed to set eyes on the black shade. As a result, anyone wearing black apparel is now not allowed entrance into the palace, especially if the man or woman has the intention of gaining a target audience with the Oba or there is a high danger of the individual crossing path with the Oba. 5. Movement women at the Alaska area. Alaska is an area of the palace known to harbor the Oba Ehemugba shrine. According to Benin's history, Oba Ehemugba, famously be aware of as an effective mystic, was born a hermaphrodite, and considering the fact that his father did not have any different heir to ascend the throne after him, he invited effective witch medical doctor and mystics to work on young Ihimugba. At the end of the restoration session, the gay components of Oba Ihimugba were once removed from him, and he used to be left with only the male part. The assuage to assuage the concerns of the humans and guarantee them that the next Oba would indeed be absolutely male, Oba Hihimugba used to be paraded naked around the entire community. The shrine in Alaska is believed to contain his spirit, and so any female who enters the area without delay turns out to be infertile. To avoid barrenness among the Benin girls and women, a ban used to be placed around the shrine. Women on sedate are refused entrance into the area. 6. Male visitors to the royal harem. No male visitors of any sort is allowed near the royal harem. The royal harem includes the queen as properly as different wives and concubines belonging to the Oba. This law is so severe that the members of the harem, especially the queen, are no longer even allowed to touch from their father or brother. The only males allowed to strategy the harem are certain male offspring from the royal family, men with blue blood. Men with blue blood. 7. Banga, palm oil fruit on the head. Why banga soup is surprisingly fed on by human beings in Benin City, carrying its source, the palm oil fruit, on your head in or around the palace is strictly prohibited. Also, a car loaded with the palm oil fruit is also not allowed via the streets surrounding the Oba's palace. The palm kernel is usually red in color, the same shade as blood, and it is believed that the palm fruits at the Oba's palace or round it means that the land will take blood, and generally anybody round would have to die. It is regarded as a terrible signal and an omen. In a situation where someone, perhaps a visitor, fails to adhere to this rule, an animal is essentially sacrificed to the Ogun Oba as soon as possible to preclude impending loss of life or catastrophe. Number 8. Dogs. In the pre-colonial times, after the human sacrifice was once abolished, dogs had been used in many communities as substitutes to human offerings or simply for district sacrifices. If you have visited the Oba's palace, you would find out that dogs on their own, as even though they have a premonition, do no longer assignment into the palace or run around it while playing. Any canis that stray inside die. These are the 8 things that must not be done in Oba Obene's palace. Everybody must be careful. Wow, when you talk about tradition, people just like, a lot of people don't just even want to go near all of those things. And that's why most time people just think that, oh, these people are diabolical, but that is their tradition, that is their nature. And the reason why a lot of traditional things are not really effective, most especially in these days, we tend to say, oh, those things are local, and meanwhile we tend to go and be borrowing other people's culture. You now say those ones are the civilized way of doing things, and meanwhile that is their own culture too. Those people that you go and import their own culture, you want to try to live your own thing, you want to go and embrace other people's culture. Other people's culture is their own traditional way, is their own local way of doing things. But unfortunately, most of the time, that is why we don't even know, we are not even in depth of our own tradition, and yet we don't even know much about other people's culture that we are trying to imbibe, and we miss everything up. And at the end of the day, we are just in between. We are just in between. If somebody who hears this one now, you think that you must have gone outside the country to have read, to have read a lot of things. And meanwhile, we are not even studying our own culture. I think there should be a course, when you study culture, but at the end of the day, which culture are you going to be studying? Because there's diverse of cultures here and there, but I think there's a way things can still be put together. We learn other people's culture up to date. And where is the independence that we got in the first place? If by this time we are still looking at other people, the people that colonize us, we still see their things as the best and ours as not the best. You know, when you begin to hear all these things, some people tell you, oh, they are diabolical, they are doing this, and they are not. They are not. They are not diabolical. I don't want to associate with, oh, and it is ignorance, and it's going from generation to generation. Okay, so guys, let's hear your opinion. Leave your comment below in the comment section.